Good afternoon and welcome to Community Connect. I am your host, Janie Bordner, and today we have a double treat for you. I'm not sure how much of a treat it is for me, but anyway, so we have a special guest host today. Normally you see the wonderful and beautiful Sarissa Powdrill next to us. Today you see the wonderful and beautiful Michael Yorba, who has his own show here at Real News, CEO Money. And so we get the treat of actually having a real professional interviewer today. So he's going to put me to shame, so I'm just going to get all the things I need to say out of the way so he can kind of take over. And then our guest is John Gilchrist, and he is the managing partner of
Fundraiser Strategies.
Thank you very much. I knew I wasn't going to get that. So we're going to talk about how you can fundraise for your favorite nonprofit organization. Hopefully it's the Community Council. Just going to put that out there.
I think that goes without saying.
Absolutely, I think so too. It's my favorite one. So anyway,
well, it's mine too.
So,
it's the next 14 minutes.
So you're here, and I'm excited because we did have North Texas Giving Day last week, and I hope that everybody got up and decided to give something to somebody. And so, what are your takes on that?
Well, $50 million in 18 hours is most impressive. I'm challenging my clients right now, and I'd like to just challenge the entire nonprofit community. What are you doing in terms of engaging those folks who chose to give to your organization on that day? Whether it was because you had a challenge grant, you had a match that if I give my $250, the impact turns into $500. But how are you going to tie the impact of the gift to an outcome? To talk about the people that you serve, weave the stories into it. We don't know, we can't keep track of all the data, but we can remember the stories because we remember how they make us feel.
That is very true. That's very true. So, Michael, you have just joined the board as chairman of the board for our Advance Fund. And so, you're new to the nonprofit organization world. So, what are your thoughts?
They're exactly right along with John's, because you have to engage who you're working with, and you've got to be able to get their story out, find their passion, their interest, and then bring them into the picture, not just have them separately just giving you a non-emotional gift of money. Getting them involved in the whole process is what I think is happening. But, John, you're the expert. How would you say is the best way to stay engaged with the people that believe in your cause enough to donate to it, not just their money, but their energy, their time, and their emotion?
Really want to tie the stories of the individuals that you're serving, whether that's you're providing education for those that otherwise would go without. You're feeding the hungry. You're educating the youth. You want to put the donor right at the side of the individual who you are impacting. You want them to feel the love and the outpouring of support that the organization is providing this individual.
How do you get them to do that, though? I mean, that's what saying is one thing, but actually engaging like that is a whole other thing.
It's a lot. You think about in terms of multimedia, the multi-channel approach, both with video, with audio. I'm suggesting that individuals, to my colleagues out there, take a quick 15-second video and just say, hey, I'd like you to meet this individual. He's got a little something to say to you. And just let them say, thank you for helping me get something to eat today. Now I'm able to take care of myself so I can be better provider for my wife and kids.
That is a great idea. We had a lady come in, and she went through our workforce development program, and she got a job. And she took her two small children to the store, and she said, oh, my God, now I can afford avocados. That was a big thing for her because avocados were kind of, not really necessary, but something they really liked. She didn't think that they could afford them, but once she got a job, she's like, oh, my God, now we can afford avocados.
And now she knows the joy of guacamole.
Absolutely.
It's a required food in Texas.
It is a required food.
It's a state law. It's not something you can ignore.
That is very true. So I actually had a conversation with a donor the other day, and he said, look, if I give you a check for $100,000, what are you going to do with it? And so I was like, well, one of the first things I'm going to do is ask you what you're most interested in and where you would like your money to go. He said, oh my God, no one's ever asked me that before.
You'd be surprised how often that happens. That exact same scenario. You're asking for the gift. You do everything you can to secure that gift, and then it's almost like you treat donors like they're an ATM machine.
That's
that
true.
you put enough direct mail and texting and a little video here that when you make the ask, they provide. And donors are far more sophisticated now. They want to know, what are you doing to really move the needle forward? What are you doing to create 5,000 jobs in Dallas in by 2020?
In 2020.
In 2020, to lift people out of poverty. Now, it's not enough that you lift them out of poverty, but you're going to have programs that will help keep them out from sliding back. That's where that's what donors really want to know. What are you doing? Okay, we give you this money, and you do some good things with it, but how are you going to sustain it? How is it repeatable? How is it scalable? Today's donors are far more sophisticated, as you well know, Michael, and they want and demand answers, and they have every right to ask those type of questions.
I absolutely agree. I'm the first one that gives to the community council. I think it comes from the top down. So, and I think that our programs really do have a really sustainable effect on the community, because not only are we building the workforce that gets the Amazons and all those other companies to come down here, because now we have a trained workforce ready to go to work for them, we are really leaving poverty behind and moving those families forward and really saving the taxpayers a lot of dollars. And the models that we have are very replicable, not just for Dallas, but they can go anywhere.
So. One of the things that when you had your kickoff of your big, what I call the BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, was when you shared more than just the stats that over half of the kids in Dallas County live in poverty, but you profiled some, and you let the people in that audience kind of get a sense about what they have to go through every day. Things that the three of us and probably the people out there don't worry about our food. You take one look at me and you'll just say, Gilchrist, you've not missed a whole lot of meals in your life, have you? And I would say, not just no, but heck no. It's a resounding no.
Right.
Let me jump in there with a real question that had been burning in my side. You've got to keep your donors up to date. And you touched on it a second ago, but how do you bring them in? Should the people that are getting the end recipients bring those stories out in like 15-second snippets on video and then send them out to the donors? Here's where your money went. Or what are some of the ideas that you bring to your other nonprofits about that? That's a big key.
It is a very important key. On the one hand, you want to showcase, you want the donors to feel and meet the individuals that they're helping. It's not that you're giving to XYZ charity. You're helping so Jimmy has clothes to go to school. You're helping Tammy get life-saving health care. You're not giving to that hospital, to that organization. You're helping that individual. The organization is the conduit by which you're doing that. So it's a combination of video vignettes. You can talk to, if you can, get the individual who's been helped and let them tell how.
Let them report on social media.
Yeah.
And
direct broadcast that out both on your social media and LinkedIn and everything, all the other social media channels.
So on, yeah.
But send it to them directly. Push that information out to them via email, via text. It's an interesting thing. How many emails do we all get every day? Hundreds and hundreds. And most people, there are thousands of unopened emails. How many unopened texts do you have on your phone right now? Texting is becoming far more prevalent because it does create an instant need within the recipient's mind. I've got to respond to this. This is a text.
A thank you from Jimmy and Sue to the donors.
Yeah, just exercise caution in terms of you don't want to become a poverty pimp, if you will, showcasing and viewing as exploiting people that are they just need a hand. They just need a hand up. They're going to get there. So it is a fine line. That's kind of the you talk about the art and science of fundraising. The art is at what point can you have those kind of transformational stories, right? But those are what donors want. They want to hear how their gift, no matter how small, no matter how big, how have I helped this organization meet its mission?
So Community Council is really working on becoming transformational, not transactional. So even with our case management, it was like, okay, well, I helped you get a gas card, or I helped you pay your rent. It was just one transaction after another. So now we are looking at the person in a holistic way, and it's not just a series of transactions. It's how can we help this family, whether it's with their elderly mom, or whether it's with their teenager that needs help in school, or whether it's with the parents that need to go back to school or get a job. How can we help that family not have to go backwards and stay in poverty? So we're
Amen
trying
to that.
We're not trying to be transactional anymore.
Yeah, and that's one of the keys that many nonprofits are starting to really get is it's about relationships. It's about the engagement. It's not about the gala. It's not about the golf tournament. It's not about the walk or the run. Those are important things. Don't get me wrong. But what are you going to do to elicit those? Why did they come? Why did they take the time to go to a golf tournament? What does it mean for them, the donor, the sponsor, the underwriter? Why did they do that? They have a choice.
True.
So smart nonprofits are really starting to probe beyond just that transactional nature that you so appropriately mentioned, Jane. They're really getting in what drove that? What inspired that gift?
Well, unfortunately, we all have events, so I don't know if that's unfortunate or fortunate, but, and I think sometimes we have events that are more friend raisers than fundraisers because we need, people on the front line going to their friends saying, hey, look, this organization is really important, help support it. This is why I like this. So, any nonprofit out there, especially smaller ones, do you have any advice to them, when are too many events? How many events are too many, and what kind of events are better than others?
Wow. Well, that's a loaded question. I find that the smaller the nonprofit, the more valuable it is to have these smaller friend-raising type events where you're really wanting to engage them in conversation. You're wanting, this is a great way for board members to get involved in fundraising. And board members, your job is fundraising. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. But how do they go about it? Most board members, they throw up the cross and say, I'm not going to fundraise. Okay, but you can open doors. You can thank people for supporting your organization. You can host small gatherings. You can host larger gatherings. But it's all about driving the conversation between the organization and those individuals that the board member has identified as, I'd like this person to know more about why I volunteer with XYZ charity.
Right. That's right.
Good point. Now, you pay it forward and pay it back by giving back into the community that you work with. Tell us about some of those things that you do.
Well, I have been an AFP, Association of Fundraising Professionals. There's a chapter here in Dallas, and I've been a mentor to younger fundraising professionals for several years. And I continue to I do a number of blogs and a number of webinars. One of the and they're always free. I mean, I'm a big believer. You give everybody the information and the tools, but when they need to start figuring out which tool, that's when they typically will contact a consultant. But the impact of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act on nonprofits, we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, I'm afraid. It was a little bit flat, maybe just a smidgen higher in giving in 2018 and 17, but the startling thing is the number of people are dropping. The number of donors are dropping. Because one of the reasons that's postulated is because they can't write it off. The standard deduction now is $24,000 for a couple. So, whereas they could write off some of those mid-level gifts, the $500 to $1,000 gifts. Now, they've got to keep going with that, and it's just harder. I think I'm not sure how the long-term impact is going to be, but I'm not sure it's going to be a good one.
Well, I always like to put people on the spot for things that we ask folks to do. So you are hysterically funny. I'm so sorry you didn't see the pre-interview because he does all kinds of I don't know, imitations, impressions, all that kind of stuff. So we would love for you to come to our gala. Well, it's not really a gala, but a lunch on November the 8th. And we would like for you to kind of showcase some of your maybe MC talents and stuff for our gala. And you can go to ccadvance.org, find out how you can participate in our fight against poverty, because it is a fight, I have to tell you that it really ticks me off that the citizens of Dallas still live in poverty, and I really want to make a difference. We can only do this together. I want to thank Michael for coming on our show today. Thank you so much, John, for coming on our show. So please go to ccadvance.org and you can get everybody's social media links and you can find out how you can help. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.